Well, let's start off with Union Square. It's home to some of the biggest names in retail. And, it was facing challenges before the pandemic, including competition from online businesses, years of construction on a new subway line that tore up the streets, not to mention the homeless. But now, how will Union Square and downtown businesses recover from the pandemic and get those people back in there and those dollars flowing? That's what we hit the ground this week wanting to know. These days, there are more pigeons eating lunch in Union Square than people. Just look down every street around the square. We see closed stores and boarded up storefronts. They line the blocks. Kazuko Morgan is with Cushman & Wakefield. She's been brokering big retail deals for 20 years. Going into the pandemic, we had a lot of discussions about the future of brick and mortar retail, and we see it all through here, whether it's big department stores or specialty stores, Saks Fifth Avenue, all of these. If they were going to continue on with the competition of the internet, what's the pandemic done for these stores?
The pandemic has been awful for these stores. You need bodies, you need customers when they can't go outside and they're under government mandate, shut down. It's been devastating.
What has that done to the retail market?
Well, what it's done to the retail market is it's taken brick and mortar sales to a grinding halt, zero. So if you look at any business that's effectively shut down and out of business, it's a disaster.
Disaster is how you could describe Powell Street as well. It's one of the city's biggest tourist attractions, at least it used to be. The cable car runs down this street. And in a normal year, 26 million tourists mingle with millions of shoppers from the financial district. But service at the cables cars and most of the businesses they roll past has come to a screeching halt. H&M, gone. The Gap, gone. Uniqlo, going. So what does that do to a downtown city core like San Francisco's if you start seeing boarded up stores as common as anything else?
For all of the city centers, it's just not San Francisco. It's become a very quiet area, and it affects everybody.
What's the domino effect?
The domino effect is that without customers, there's no sales, tenants struggle to pay rent, but it's more than just that too. It's the fabric. Like retail and restaurants are the DNA of every city. And so when it's very quiet and shut down, you lose the vibrancy.
Not all of Union Square's issues can be blamed on the pandemic. Even before the virus, construction on the central subway made it hard for cars to get around, and it also reduced foot traffic to stores. The city's homeless made it uncomfortable for locals and tourists alike, and the rise of online shopping made brick-and-mortar locations less appealing. And there's been a rise of crime in the neighborhood as well. We got retail space empty there, we've got retail space empty there, we've got this store that's open but boarded up. There's been a lot of problems with theft and break-ins in these retail places in the last couple of months. How's that play in?
It's played, we've had a huge setback. People are breaking in, they're, all the time, and in some cases, the police won't even come very quickly. And it's something that we struggle with because this is our sacred cow of San Francisco, right? All the tourists come here. This is our livelihood for retail. Mm-hmm. And it really needs to be the most protected part of the city, in my opinion, for the commercial district. Mm-hmm. And any little thing should have full-blown attention and be fixed immediately so that we don't have these problems.
Retailers do not want to return to the old normal. They want a new normal, one with clean streets, police patrols, and financial support to keep businesses open. Do you think this area has been neglected by the city government?
I would say, I don't want to call it out as neglected. And I know a lot of other cities are having the same issues, but it is something that needs to be made top priority, right? If you want recovery, you need to go out of your way and above and beyond, like some other cities have done, have recognized that. It's revenue, it's, you want to come visit our beautiful city and see it like this.
This is what the owner of Josh's Tailoring and Design looks over. His business has been there for 40 years. It's seen San Francisco boom, and it's seen it go bust.
I own it.
Owner Josh Jafari and I have both been vaccinated and felt comfortable taking off our masks for a talk. So you do custom tailoring? And you do alterations? And a lot of your clients are the lawyers, the financiers, the people that work in the downtown. How has the pandemic affected you?
Pandemic affected us actually about, like everybody else. It's our business is slow.
Yeah.
And but we do have a lot of great followers for so many years, and I have almost like 11,000 people in our contact list.
Okay.
So
you were able to keep it going?
we are able to keep going, and thank God that our landlord was able to help us a little bit about rent.
Jafari is actually considering opening another store in another location in the city as well, because commercial rents have dropped, making it more affordable. He says that while business may be down and storefronts are closing, customers still need alterations, even for their online purchases. How many people did you have working before the pandemic, and how many do you have now?
Before pandemic, I had 6 people and myself, which it counts 2.
Counts for 2.
Counts 2. And right now, it's only 1 full-time and 2 part-time.
So you see that coming back, or what's it going to take to bring it back to the old force? What does the city need to do to make this work?
In order for us really to back to where we are, it's going to take a little while financially to everybody else, like us as well.
He's not alone. Just a couple of blocks away at the Crocker Galleria, a mix of shoppers and those high-rise office workers used to keep Ladle Leaf busy serving up lunches. Owner Steve Sarber wants to get those office workers back so that he can bring his employees back and get back to the business of serving lunch.
Right now, we have only 3 locations out of a total of 13 that we had open before the pandemic.
Now, before the pandemic, there was so much street traffic in the financial district that you guys had one of these soup stores, what, every couple of blocks?
Yeah, I mean, anyone who worked in downtown San Francisco knew of Ladle Leaf because we've been around for over 20 years, and we have restaurants virtually every other block throughout the financial district because there's so many people to serve.
But how many now?
Right now, we only have 1 restaurant open in the financial district.
This is the one open?
This is the one open here at Crocker Galleria, and you know, we're glad we have this one open, but you know, we want to open the rest of them.
What do you need to open them?
We need people. We need people in the financial district.
For a business that's built to cater to a busy downtown, Sarber worries what will happen if all the people who used to fill these towers don't come back. And that crowd, what happens if it doesn't come back in the numbers?
You know, we're really concerned that the office workers are not going to come back in anywhere near the numbers that we had before. And that's a big problem. It's a big problem for the energy of San Francisco, for the vibrancy of the downtown. And there's a lot of businesses, a lot of small family-owned businesses right here downtown that I don't know how they're going to be able to survive.
So, what's the solution? Well, the owner of our chain of lunch shops says that it needs a level of civic pride to rebuild the downtown. That the big office and the techies, they need to not just do what's maybe best for their workers by saying you can work away when you want to, but get those corporations to say, no, we need you back. And I know that Mayor London Breed has been talking with the CEOs as well, saying that the only way that the downtown and these businesses are going to survive this crisis is to get people back. And that is the secret of recovering from the pandemic.
Yeah, well, judging from that piece, we have a now thriving pigeon population,
yes,
but not so much with people. So, Phil, what can be done to help these businesses?
Well, many of them gotten federal aid, but some businesses have been able to get local grants as well. But each one I talk to says that, okay, that's only going to last for so long. So, Larry, what we got to do is you've got to have a concerted push. What you've got to try to do is almost like, you know, root for the team, get out there, have people, have come back to work days, get people back in, get tourists back in, which is what we're going to be taking a look at next down the line, is what's it going to take to get those tourists back, get those conventions back, and get people just back into San Francisco, because it's not easy. And by the way, we also need to get that tax base back from all the companies to fund some of these programs.
Sure.
No doubt. All right. Thank you so much, Phil.